Opinion Yunuss China visit doesn't exactly overflow with goodies. Muhammad Yunuss' visit to Beijing was neither the sweeping success it is being portrayed as, nor a failure. The truth lies somewhere in between. The visit of the year for Bangladesh is now over. The chief advisor of Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunuss, has paid obeisance to Beijing and returned in apparent triumph. The visit was described as the most important visit in 50 years, according to his press secretary, who was seemingly quoting the Chinese ambassador. Beijing is known for its flowery language, but the visit was neither the sweeping success it is being portrayed as, nor a failure. The truth lies somewhere in between. Yunuss has certainly gone out of his way to please his hosts. It's all rather mysterious. The gentleman is, after all, known to be an acolyte of former U.S. President Bill Clinton and had long enjoyed the support of the American establishment. Now, it seems, the tables have turned. Yunuss has faced negative press in India from the outset, as Bangladesh plunged into a spiral of violence against minorities and Awami League leaders' developments he appeared unable to control. Social media added fuel to the fire, as did muddled reports on border clashes, which were more the result of villagers aiding smugglers than of any real skirmishes. While student leaders like Nahid Islam have been openly hostile towards India, Yunuss began his tenure by calling for good relations with Delhi. However, matters worsened following the arrest of Chinmoy Krishna Das last year, and the situation has since deteriorated rapidly. Apparently, Bangladesh did want Yunuss to visit India first but was unable to secure a suitable date. That may well be true, but his visit to China, while understandable in terms of the assistance hoped for, saw Yunuss making some remarkable statements that appeared to be a deliberate snub to India. The visit to Beijing would have been planned months in advance and was preceded by a trip from Foreign Minister Tawhid Hossain, who met his counterpart with hopes of securing budgetary support and an extended loan repayment period, in addition to pushing for greater regional connectivity. In the days that followed, Hossain was heard saying that no agreements were expected to be signed. Evenly, several memoranda of understanding mouse. That hardly boded well for the visit. The Chinese Foreign Ministry's statement was characteristically bland, as is its practice. However, the Dhaka Tribune reported a combined investment figure of 1.2 billion. The Chinese ambassador in Dhaka, who could reasonably be described as a wolf warrior, declared that 30 Chinese companies had pledged 1 billion. Of this, 400 million was reportedly planned for the Mongla Port Modernization Project, 350 million for the development of a China industrial zone, and 150 million as technical assistance. The rest, which remains entirely unclear, is said to be in the form of grants. As of now, it does not appear that China has made any commitments regarding the extension of loan repayment periods or the reduction of interest rates from a reported 3% to about 1%. It may be recalled that former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had also requested a 5 billion soft loan and was rebuffed despite having cleared several Chinese projects, including a naval base and the first joint military exercise. The statement at the Boao Forum joint press release, again a Bangladeshi document, speaks of future prospects such as a free trade agreement and the signing of the implementation plan of the Mao on exchange of hydrological information of the Yarlung Zangbo Jamuna River, the Brahmaputra. Bangladesh also welcomed Chinese participation in the Teesta River Comprehensive Management and Restoration Project and mentioned a 50-year master plan for river management. Yet, nothing has been concretely committed to. Not content with a project that is extremely sensitive for India given its implications for the 24 km-wide Siliguri corridor that connects the northeast with the rest of the country, Yunuss, at a roundtable discussion, went further. He asked China to leverage its strategic position as a guardian of the oceans, linking it to the status of landlocked northeastern states and framing this as an opportunity for an extension of the Chinese economy. This appears to have been a more informal discussion, and it is possible that Yunuss was speaking beyond a text provided by his ministry. Nonetheless, it raised a ripple of apprehension across India. Ministers from the northeast, across party lines, have predictably reacted with anger, with one even calling for the breakup of Bangladesh. While such remarks are often for public consumption, there is no doubt that Yunuss has succeeded in setting the cat among the pigeons. Meanwhile, the only concrete agreement to emerge is the approval for Bangladesh to export fresh fruits to help address the significant trade imbalance. There is also a reported decision to grant the country quota-free and duty-free access until 2028, well beyond the point at which Bangladesh is expected to graduate from its status as a least developed economy. This represents a boost for Bangladeshi exports. According to OEC data, China exported goods worth 22.9 billion to Bangladesh, while Bangladesh's exports stood at a mere 6,777. An often overlooked aspect is the strengthening of the health sector, a long-standing pillar of India-Bangladesh relations, with approximately 5,007,000 medical travelers daily. China had earlier designated 3 top-tier hospitals in Yunnan for this purpose, and the sector is likely to see growth. It is also noteworthy that the first foreign naval fleet to arrive in Bangladesh was a Chinese flotilla. In the final analysis, what is apparent is abundant Chinese caution, with not even an official joint statement, with a leader who is officially not the head of government. That said, none of this diminishes the significant Chinese footprint in the country. According to the American Enterprise Institute AEI, total Chinese investment is estimated at around 7.07 billion, while Chinese companies have secured construction contracts worth $22.94 billion. Although additional investment is likely to be held back until after the elections and a settling of the still volatile social situation, China is expected to eventually accept Bangladesh's offer to offshore industries taking advantage of cheap labor and the country's rapidly developing ports. Given the outreach to China even by Islamic groups such as the Jamaat with no evident concern about Beijing's treatment of the Uyghurs, China faces no political hurdles in dealing with any future government, however radical it may be. What is particularly striking is that, despite continued though somewhat reduced rhetoric against India, there has been no media focus on the fact that China, in effect, gave away nothing at all. Meanwhile, U.S. State Department officials arrived in Bangladesh, emphasizing that transparency, the rule of law, and democracy are vital for American investment in the country. The U.S. is the top source of FDI in Bangladesh and remains Dhaka's largest export destination. What it says matters. But even if democracy is slow in coming, U.S. influence is not likely to diminish. India, meanwhile, has adopted a pragmatic policy. Prime Minister Modi extended warm wishes to the country on Eid, and prominent visitors such as Foreign Secretary Misra have gone out of their way to make positive statements. And don't forget, despite the political noise, normal trade continues, and visa issuance is likely to increase soon. The trick is to control the narrative, something that's spiraling out of control on social media on both sides. One can also expect aspiring and established political parties in Dhaka to continue India baiting, simply because it sells, at least until the elections come around. The thrust of India's policy should be to reduce the value of that currency through quiet diplomacy and a low profile. For now, Dhaka knows perfectly well that Delhi has no designs on its territory or its sovereignty, even as it supports Bangladesh in areas of critical interest to both countries. That's not weakness. It's called national interest. Nan, the writer, is a distinguished fellow at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies, New Delhi. She tweets Kartha_Tara. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect News 18's views. Nan.